What is up guys, today is the 3rd of the 3rd, which is 303 day. It's not as celebrated as 404 day, which actually happens next month, but because I own this unit, I really wanted to get it on the table and it shows some love for it. So that is exactly the topic of this video, 5 reasons why I love this legendary sampler, and hopefully it gives you a bit more insight into what this can do and what it's capable of. And if you already own it, I'm sure you know about most of these features already, but if there's anything that you think I've missed that should have been mentioned, definitely drop a comment and let me know. Now, I just want to do a quick disclaimer before I start this video, guys. I'm having real trouble with my ears at the moment and I can't really hear anything out of my right ear, so I'm struggling to do anything music wise or beat making or video wise. So yeah, I'm trying the best I can with this video and hopefully nothing sounds too out of whack, but apologies if it does. So let's get into the first point, and this is quite an obvious one. If you've heard anything or read anything about the SP303, you've probably heard about vinyl sim compression. Now, we do have a compressor in the MFX area on this device, but if we go into vinyl sim, we have access to a compressor on this dial here on the left. And it's one of those things that's got quite a mystical vibe around it. A lot of people swear by this compressor compared to the compressor that's just on the unit, mainly because it's got its kind of own unique character and flavor, and it really can beef up drums and samples as well. So you don't have any control over it. The only controls that you have are compression, then you have noise, and then you have flutter. So the other two dials aren't anything to do with compression, they're to do with the vinyl sim. But yeah, this left-hand dial is a compressor, and I'll just show you a comparison of before and after. So I've got a drum break here on pad 5. Okay, so that's it without, and this is it with. Okay, so as you can hear, quite a difference there, and yeah, literally you only have that one option of control, which is just more or less vinyl sim compression, basically. Really interesting effect, and I'll just show you the actual compressor while I'm here. So we'll hold MFX and turn it to 12. Now, the one advantage of the compressor is that we get control over sustain, attack, and level as well. So if you wanted more control, this would probably be a better one to use. But yeah, the vinyl sim compressor is just known for having a bit more of a unique character, and it's great for using on all sorts of things. It can be used on drums, it can be used on samples, it can be used on full mixes just to give your whole mix that boost. So yeah, great little effect, and probably one of the most loved things about this device. Okay, getting on to point number 2 is the sample grades. Now, I have no idea why Roland dropped sample grades on the SP devices. They're so useful, they're so fun, and it was really disappointing not to get them on the SP404 Mark II. I'm still kind of keeping my fingers crossed that they can do it with an update, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, the 303 has them, it has 3 available. I'll put on the screen what the kilohertz rates are for each one. So basically we've got normal, which I'm pretty sure is 44.1 kilohertz, and then we've got long and lo-fi, which you can see here above this button, hopefully. And the way that you can use this is either you can use it when you're resampling, or you can use it on the signal on the way in as well. I'm going to resample this drum break and use lo-fi so you can hear exactly what this thing can do. So let's go ahead and set this up. We'll do resample and record. We'll choose pad 6 because that's empty. And we'll do record. Now it's ready to go. We'll go ahead and press the button and then press it again to make sure it's flashing. That means it's going to be in lo-fi mode when it's recording. And now we're ready to record. Okay, and I tried to stop it there so it does a perfect loop. Didn't quite get that right, but hopefully you can hear what it's done to the sound there. Just adds that crunch and that aliasing like we get with older samplers. I always say these samplers when I say this, but the SP1200, older Kai rack-mounted samplers, they always added this kind of metallic sound to samples when you use them because they had such low sample grades. And the 303 does a really good job of recreating that, I think. So yeah, sounds super nice there on the drum break, and again, you can use that on samples as well if you wanted to. You can get some really nice textures. Okay, kind of following on from that, another thing that I really love about the 303 is the actual lo-fi MFX. So that's 14 on the list here. So we'll go ahead and choose that by holding down the MFX button and using the right-hand dial. Let's get to 14, there we go. And I just think this sounds really, really good. And to be honest, a lot of the effects on this device do sound really, really nice. But I've been using LOFI recently when a signal is running through this unit, and it's been adding some really nice grit to my samples. So I've got a sample chop here. We'll pop this on. I think we've got rate, bit depth, and filter on the right hand side. So let's try and dial this in a little bit. Doing my best to hear this, guys. Like I said, my ears are giving me problems, but I'm pretty sure this is starting to sound quite nice. There we go. It kind of does a very good job of emulating the lo-fi recording mode, I think. So if you wanted to get that sound of the lower sample grades but don't want to sample into the unit, this is definitely the way to go. You get a lot of control, and that reminds me of the lo-fi button that we have on the P6 now. But yeah, I think that sounds really nice. And again, you can use that on your drums, you can use that on your samples, just to emulate those old samplers again. I think that's a really, really good effect, and that's something that I'll definitely keep using in the future. Okay, moving away from the lo-fi sound of this box, from the grit and everything, I wanted to talk about the time and BPM. Now, I love this feature because it's surprisingly good for the age of the unit, I think. So, especially on drums, we can go into this time and BPM setting. We can choose the BPM type here. So you can see we can choose between 166 or 82. So I'm going to move to 82. And then with the left-hand dial, we can change the BPM. Now, I'm not sure how accurate this is. It's saying this is 82, but if we take this down a little bit, let's say to sort of 70, 72. I think that does a pretty good job of changing the BPM without adding too many artifacts. We do get some artifacts coming into play there, but nothing that's going to ruin the mix. I think once you had samples, etc. over the top of that break, you wouldn't even notice. So for drums in particular, it's really cool. You can use that to match your break to whatever you're doing with your sample chops. With sample chops, you get a lot more artifacts, but you may just see that as a nice bit of character. So if we go to this one. Let's take that MFX off now. So you can hear that sort of distinctive character it adds, and then if we go the other way, just kind of adds this wobble to the sample, which is really, really cool. So yeah, that time BPM button, really, really good for drum breaks. Okay for samples if you don't mind that character that it adds. It's kind of fun, I guess. And yeah, surprisingly good for the age of the unit. That's another feature that I love. Okay, the last thing that I wanted to mention about this doesn't involve any sound. It's more to do with just the legacy of this sampler. Now, this is known to have been used by some really, really amazing artists that probably a lot of you guys listen to here if you're following me. Madlib, MF Doom, Jay Dilla, all those amazing artists have been linked with this device, and I would probably say in particular Madlib. I've seen loads of stuff about him and the 303. There's actually a video on YouTube of him messing around with samples in Brazil, and he's got an MPC and this is next to it on the table. I'll try and dig out that clip and include it.
Airto. One of Airto's first records. Airto. Went back to the basics for Brazil. Had to.
But yeah, I think it's amazing just to have your hands on something that you know those legendary guys have used. And obviously, if you can dig into the tracks and find the samples, you can probably emulate a lot of the sounds that they made on the beats that they've released because they were using this exact piece of gear. So yeah, the legacy of this device really is pretty big. And I think that's just another thing to love about it. The fact that we have access to a piece of equipment that some of our favorite artists have used over the years. That is a great feeling when you're on this device. So happy 303 day, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that one. Let me know if there's anything you think I've missed that's really cool about this device. I'd love to hear those. Just want to say a big shout out to my members that support me every month, and I will be back with another video very, very soon.